All right, good evening out there to everybody. You're listening and watching Amateur Radio Roundtable. It's a show about ham radio. I know all you hams that are out there watching know what it is, but we have guests on international shortwave that tune in. They may not know what it is or would like to know what the show's about. So ham radio tonight. We're on WBCQ, International Shortwave, on 7490. And if you're out there on shortwave tonight, shoot us an email to tom@w5kub.com, tom@w5kub.com. Let us know where you are in the world and if you're hearing the show, and we'll get you a QSL card there for a reception report. If you will, please hit the subscribe button. We need everybody to hit the subscribe button. That helps our ratings on YouTube. We haven't had our 40-meter net in several weeks now. I have just been too busy trying to keep up with everything, and I haven't had time. Plus, the band's been pretty lousy. Now, it might be getting better now, so I need to look into that. I'm also thinking about just having some impromptu meetings, and we'll post it on Facebook. Or maybe I'm going to start getting on maybe 20 meters instead of 40, and that way it'll allow some other people to get in here with us. So we might start doing that here soon too. Today is, what is the day? Today is September the 7th, I think, and we really appreciate everybody that's joined us tonight. Katie is out traveling tonight, so she's not going to be here. Bill's in the chat room, but we do have Alan and we've got Glenn with us tonight. It's going to be kind of a light night, although we got maybe some interesting things to talk about. So let's just jump over and just say hello to Alan and make sure he survived. You know, the hurricane was pretty bad up here in New Jersey. Alan, how you doing?
All right. Hey, good evening, everybody. Good evening, Tom. Good evening, Glenn, and everybody out there. But yeah, we've had an interesting couple of weeks on vacation for 2 weeks, and while I was down the shore on vacation, we had Hurricane Henri pass to the east on the ocean, and that dumped a lot of rain on my vacation, but just over the weekend. And then, of course, we had Ida come through here last week and made a real mess, but we'll talk a little bit about that later. But we're doing okay, doing a lot better than a lot of my neighbors. So I feel bad for them, but at least we did pretty good over here. So we'll talk about that a little bit later on.
All right, well, very good. How about you, Glenn? Now, you're down in Mississippi, but I think the hurricane missed both of us.
Yeah, we didn't get anything. I mean, that was kind of surprising. I was expecting, a lot of rain and stuff. And
what do you got there? What's going on, man? You need to do mouth to mouth.
No, she's busy. Just the desk had stuff on it, and it needed to be cleaned.
Oh, I thought it might have been a hairball or something. I couldn't tell what's going on, man.
That is everything must leave the desktop and go to the floor.
All right.
That reminds me of the primary reason that we know that the Earth is not flat, right?
Exactly.
Because if it was, the cats would have pushed everything off.
That would have pushed it all off.
That's right, man. All right.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised that we hardly got any rain. I think we got like a couple hours of drizzle out of it.
Yeah.
It really hit everybody on the East Coast a lot harder than us.
Well, yeah, we got practically, like you say, almost just nothing here. I was expecting at least some wind and some rain, but it completely missed us here, man.
Yeah.
All right. Well, look, let's tell you what. Let's just jump into this. Let's see. Let's just see what. Somebody's sending me something. Let's see. I shouldn't do this on the phone here. I mean, while I'm on the show. Let's see. Bill Brown's in the chat room. Yep. And let's see. I can't tell you what the message said for my son. I can't tell you. But anyway. Okay, hey, let's, Alan, you got a couple things to talk about tonight. Let's just jump right into it, man. And I'll turn and share screen on. If you got a video or anything you want to show us, we'd love to see it.
Yeah, I think I will. So actually, the first thing I'll mention, just in case we've got any listeners up in the New England area, The New England, division of ARRL is having their kind of convention this weekend, September 10th to 12th. So you can look at any div, November Echo Delta India Victor, anydiv.arrl.org. You get some information about the schedule for everything with the convention and ham exposition up there this weekend. So I figured I'd just mention that. I'm in the Mid-Atlantic division here, Hudson division. So it's kind of the division kind of a little bit north of us. But I would mention that. And thanks for the reminder in the chat room there. But yeah, a couple of things we'll talk about. Again, apologize, I've been gone for quite a while. We 2 weeks on vacation down at the Jersey Shore, which we had a great time. Did some operating on QRP and from North America 111 for anybody who chases those IOTAs. But had a fun time. Had an antenna set up about 30 feet above the what's called the Manahawkin Bay, which is between the Long Beach Island that I was on and the coast of New Jersey. And so I had some good luck with operating 5 and 10 watts. So that was kind of fun. But we did have Henri that came by there and dumped about 8 inches of rain on us one weekend and flooded a bunch of roads. But thankfully we were high enough, even though we were only about 3 feet above sea level. We were high enough to not get any water. But weren't so lucky with Ida. I mean, Ida, they were all week. They were telling us it was going to be heavy rain, but like 3 to 6 inches of rain, and over a 12 to 14 hour period. And turned out that central New Jersey had, depending on where you were, anywhere from 8 to over 12 inches of rain in about 6 hours. So it was just way too much for the rivers, the tributaries, the runoff areas, and things like that. And we had some pretty catastrophic flooding in several areas, and more than 24 people lost their lives in New Jersey. But and the town that I'm in a town called Bridgewater, but kind of close next to Bound Brook. Bound Brook had some flooding. South Bound Brook had some flooding. Probably the one you see on the news, if you watched any of the news, is a town called Manville, which is really just the next town over. But it's all kind of surrounding what's called the Raritan River. The Raritan River kind of runs just south of us here. And then all the tributaries and little brooks that run into it. I've got one that runs just to the south of my neighborhood, one that runs just to the west, or the west of my neighborhood, and both of those overflow their banks. So, but we were, lucky enough that the floodwaters didn't get to within more than about a half a block from here. So I did spend a couple of 4 to 5 hours of quality time with my shop vac in the basement, keeping up with the water as it came in. I estimate it was probably in the neighborhood of about 80 gallons of water that came into my basement that I was able to keep up with. So it never got more than about a half-inch deep in one part of the basement. So but we did okay. But in going through some video footage that people had taken in the area with drones and things like that, I actually found a video that shows, I got a small glimpse of my house. And while the flooding in this area was just, that I'm going to show in this video, is due to 2 different brooks that run near my neighborhood. They're not where the major flooding was, but it just gives you an idea of how kind of close it was here. So maybe what I'll do is let's bring this one up here, and I'll do a quick little screen share of this guy. Let me know when you can see that.
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay, so what I'm going to do, but I don't know if you've got control over this, Tom, but where our little videos appear on your outgoing thing, it was over on my right-hand side.
Yep.
I'll let you move those, because that's going to be the spot where my house shows up.
I think let me work on this.
Do that, or what I'll do is I'll make this a little bit.
How's that?
Let me see what your outgoing feed looks like.
Well, it's going to be delayed there.
That's better like that. Yep.
Yeah, I think they're out of the way now. I think
they're out of the way now.
Yeah.
Okay, let me go back to the video here, and let's see. So if I start running this, this is a road that is kind of runs past my neighborhood. My neighborhood is right up over here, and that guy right there is my house. You see where I'm pointing with my mouse? That's my house right there. You can see floodwaters right here. there's a better shot of my house. In fact, that window is right where I'm sitting right now, right
Okay.
there. So, in fact, you go up, you can see my pickup truck sitting in the street over here. But you can see floodwaters right here. There's a car up to its bumpers in water. My poor neighbors here on the corner here and over here, their basement's completely filled with water as the water came up and just filled up the basements through their bulkhead doors. But this was a relatively small area. You know, it was only about a tenth of a mile along this road, and then but just kind of went down through the neighborhood over here. We just kind of advanced through this a little bit here. You know, there's a house that's back up here that was up to halfway above its first floor with water. And then down the street, I guess they're just showing bringing the boat in over here. I'm not going to go through this whole video, but just wanted to give you an idea. Yeah, this is the next street over from me. You can see that there's actually a bridge just past this house over here. You can't even see the supports for the bridge anymore because it was just overrun so much.
Wow.
But then half of the cemetery back here was flooded out. But yeah, this is really kind of the minor area. There are the town of Manville, which is not far from me. There's neighborhoods there where houses were flooded up to the gutters of the house, and then there were at least 3 houses that blew up because once the floodwaters extinguished the pilot lights and things like the furnaces and hot water heaters, the gas continued to kind of come out, and then once something sparked, like water hitting a electrical panel, we had 3 houses that just blew up, and then we had a convention hall in the south end of Manville. Pretty good sized convention hall, could hold several hundred people that blew up. And when these things blow up, there was 5, 6, 7 feet of water in the roads, so the fire department couldn't get to them. So they just burned right down to the water line. So it was a pretty devastating area. In fact, I think the president visited Manville today just to talk with some of the officials there and tour some of the damage there. So it was a pretty devastating thing. And like I said, we made out, really lucky, as you can see. I go back to where my house is here. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, like I said, my house is kind of right up here, high and dry. But it's a pretty crazy night. And so I just feel bad for those folks that whose basements just got flooded because, if the water was a foot or 2 higher, it probably would have come down my street. And then if any of you watched my videos, all that equipment that I've got in those videos is all in my basement lab, and that would have just gotten completely inundated. So we, knock wood, made out pretty well with that. So I know that other people in the path, through Louisiana and things like that, had things, bad also. So not to downplay that at all, but it turned out to be a lot worse than anybody predicted here, which was kind of sad because usually they're pretty good at telling us when things are going to get bad and make some precautions. But a lot of people were caught by surprise because of this one.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so that was the adventures here. So. I don't know if anybody else in the chat room had some.
Is the water still up there, or has it gone down?
No, it went down pretty quick because a lot of the floodwaters that were here was mostly runoff. So it stopped raining like a little after midnight on Wednesday. The water crested about 2 p.m. on Thursday. So about 14, 15 hours later, it crested, and then by Friday afternoon, those streets that I was just showing you were passable. And then today, the water, even at the river, is just about back to normal. But the Raritan River at Bound Brook, which is the water gates that I watch when things like this happen, the water level is typically around 14, 15 feet, and it crested just a little over 40. So it was, just a crazy rise. They do have a floodgate that they close for downtown Bound Brook, and with closing that, the water came up to the top of that, but didn't go over it. But there was still some flooding in downtown Bound Brook, but South Bound Brook on the other side of the river got flooded pretty bad, and then parts of Somerville, which is next door, parts of Middlesex, which is on the other side of me here, and then a lot of Manville was pretty devastatedly flooded. So it's it's just not a good situation.
Well, all right. We had some people try to join here. Everybody, we'll bring you in about 9 o'clock tonight, or the second half of the show. The first half of the show is kind of structured and organized. So stand by if you want to join us. We'll bring everybody in a little later in the show. All right. Well, hey, I'm glad you're doing okay there. It's not fun when you get all that water and mud all over your place there, man. Just think of the cleanup that a lot of those people in your neighborhood are having to go through.
Yeah, I see Mike in the chat room asking, if my basement started filling, what would I save first? The classic irreplaceable tech stuff that I have, or the modern, or the expensive new modern stuff? And the answer is, I guess, as much as I could. If I had warning, I would probably have brought as much of it upstairs as I possibly could. But yeah, we didn't expect it to be that bad, and luckily, like I said, it didn't get that bad. But we're okay. But we don't we don't have flood insurance here because it's never flooded here in modern history. So at least up to the street level, and as long as I've lived here, we've never had that volume of rain in that short a period of time. So the good thing is, at least for where I am, is that even under this pretty bad situation, we didn't get the devastating flood on my street. So just enough that I can keep up with, with a shop vac. So even if I didn't do that, I probably would have had an inch of water in the basement or something. So it wouldn't have been horrible. So
well, that wouldn't have been good.
Yeah. So, but I do have something later on if we want to talk about too, more ham radio related, rather than this depressing stuff. So we could talk about that.
Well, what the alignment of well, let's just go ahead and talk about it. Let's
okay.
Just go ahead.
So just something I thought would be interesting is, again, switching gears, talking ham radio. I used to get a lot of questions sometimes from especially new hams. They pick up like an old Kenwood TS 520 or 530 or an 830 or something like that, and usually the biggest question is, how do you tune up the finals on that? And so I did a video on that several years ago, many years. I'm looking at it now. Gee, it was June in 2014. But I did a video to show how to tune it up. And before we show the video, maybe we'll just talk about why. Modern rigs, you don't think about it, right? You hook them up, and the rig is expecting to see 50 ohms, and as long as it sees 50 ohms, it's fine. And you use a tuner or a transmatch or maybe an ATU inside the rig to make the antenna system look like 50 ohms. Well, back in the days of hybrid rigs or all tube rigs, the output impedance of the final amplifier was much higher than 50 ohms, and much higher than even the open wire line. So there was always effectively a tuning network or a pi network in the output stage that you'd use to impedance match from the high output impedance of the tube final to generally the lower impedance of the antenna system and the feed line. So the part of the process of using any of these old hybrid rigs was to adjust that tuning network, adjust that pi network, and it involved tuning a couple of controls, generally called the drive, which is really more of a bias level, and then tuning what's called the load and the plate, which referred to the various capacitors that are in the pi network on the output. And the old adage was, to
dip the plate.
Dip the plate, and maximize the load, right? So, but to get the most power out, dip the plate to transfer the most power out, and so the process of how to do that on different hybrid rigs varied. So I did a video to show how to do it on the TS 830, which kind of applies to most of the Kenwood hybrid rigs, like a TS 520, 530, 820, 830, and probably some of the others as well. So anyway, with that, let me turn on the share. With that, I'm going to turn on share sound of this as well, so then you can just listen to the narration of the video here. So here we go. Let's turn that share on, and Okay, and we'll go turn the volume up on this and play this video. It's only 4 minutes long, so then we can chat more about it afterwards. All right, this video is to show how to properly load up the finals in your Kenwood hybrid rig. First thing to do is pick the operating frequency that you want to tune up on, and preset the controls as follows. Now, ideally, you want to start off by tuning up into a dummy load, which is what I'll be doing. Now, presetting the controls, start with the drive control set to the 12 o'clock position. Adjust the plate control so that you're lined up in the arc for the band you want to operate in. In this case, we're in the 7 megahertz band. We'll just start off at the center of that. And start with the load capacitor is fully meshed. So that's the fully counterclockwise position. Set the mode into the tune position and set the car control to mid-scale. And this will be our good starting point. Oh, and also set the meter to the ALC position. This is the good starting point to begin the tuning procedure. Okay, the first step is to adjust the drive control. So with one hand on the send-receive switch, flip it to send, and adjust the drive control for a maximum reading. The meter scale doesn't matter at this point, you're just looking for a maximum reading. Now, if that maximum reading is outside of the ALC reading, the ALC scale, which taps out right there, you want to adjust it down. I like going between half and 2/3 of the way up the ALC scale. Exactly where doesn't really matter, but you want to kind of be inside the ALC scale and re-peak the drive control to be sure that you're peaked. So now the drive control is set and the car control is set. You won't have to touch these again. Okay, the next step is to dip the plate current. Flip the meter into plate current measurement mode, put your hand on the plate control, and then as you flip the send switch up, adjust the plate until you get a dip in the plate current, just a dip in the meter reading. Okay, find that dip, flip back to receive. That kind of presets the plate. The finals are now in resonance. Now we can go tune up at power. Okay, so now we're ready to tune up at full power. We'll flip the mode to CW, the meter to RF. Now the process is we'll flip to a transmit mode and adjust the load control until we peak the RF power reading, and then alternate back and forth between load and plate to find the highest reading that we can find. It's important when you do this to not stay in the send position for more than about 5 to 10 seconds. If it's taking you longer to do that, go back to receive, let the finals cool a few seconds, and then do it again. So, okay, I'll flip to send, adjust the load, find a peak, adjust the plate, peak it up again a little bit more there, and peak up the plate load, and then we're done. So it should only take you a couple of seconds to find that peak, and we'll go through and verify that again. Flip to send, find that peak, and the peak, and we're done. And now we're all tuned up and ready to transmit on CW. Now if you want to operate single sideband, the last control to adjust is the mic gain. So we'll flip to lower sideband here, and I'll key the mic, and we'll just flip the meter to ALC, so we can read on the ALC scale. And we want to kind of stay kind of about mid-scale or below is a good practice here. So we'll key the microphone, and we can actually see the ALC is just staying about mid-scale. If we turn it up too far, we could be going too much, and turn the gain down, and we won't get any deflection. So you want that mic gain adjusted so you get about a mid-scale reading on the ALC, which is about a 25% reading or so in terms of the overall full deflection of the meter. So that's it. That's all you need to do to properly tune up the finals and the transmit settings on a Kenwood hybrid rig. Thanks for watching. Alrighty.
Well, you know, that was that was just common practice back in the earlier days, and you could do all that in 3 or 4 seconds. I mean, once you did it a few times, you knew exactly what you're doing, and 3 or 4 seconds, and you had it tuned.
Yeah, that's all it took, and it's surprising because the manual, even though the manual is written, it seems pretty clear, but I always found the manual a little bit confusing. So I kind of tried to simplify it a little bit from the manual, and the only step that I kind of left out is there is a bias a bias current adjustment that you want to kind of verify up front, but it's an adjustment on the back of the rig that you rarely have to touch. But if you get a new one of these rigs that's new to you, or you replace the finals or something like that, there is that bias adjustment that you want to make, and the manual kind of describes how to do that first. So you want to verify that your bias current is below some value. I don't remember exactly what it is. It's at this point, but it's you want to kind of verify that first. But I left that out of the tuning procedures because that's not your everyday.
Yeah, I think I never looked at my bias after I set it over all those years. And those were some great rigs. That was the 830. I had a complete 820 station here, very similar to that.
Yeah, I love that 830 because when I was originally licensed back in 1980 or 81, that was the king of the rigs, back then, right? And it was a rig I wish I could have gotten, but as a high school kid, in 1980, there was no way I could afford one of those. So it was just one of those things that stayed on the wish list for years and years. And it wasn't until many years later that I bought this one used. And I already had the rig that's sitting above it. You see the bottom of the rig that was above that was, in fact, it's still sitting behind me there now, right? So
yeah.
The 830 on the bottom, the rig above it's the 870. Okay, but those are the rigs that I have, and it was even after I had the 870, I came across this 830 that needed a little bit of work on the CW side of things that I was able to take care of, and that was an interesting repair. As one of these things, the CW worked, but the side tone didn't, and I couldn't figure out why. So I didn't have a side tone when transmitting CW. So I went into the rig and was going in there, and I found a wire that looked like it had been broken off of that mode switch, where you switch from tune to CW to single sideband. So it was a wire that was broken off, sitting right there, just like broken off. So I resoldered it back on there and said, okay, great. And I turned the rig on, put it in CW mode, and I had a side tone. Great, that was it. Closed the whole rig back up again. But then I figured out that as soon as I put it in CW, I had the side tone all the time. So whoever had the rig before me had that problem, couldn't figure out how to fix it. They just cut the wire off the mode switch.
Oh, boy.
So it turned out it was an interesting problem. The side tone oscillator in this radio is a simple, single transistor phase shift oscillator. That is just basically looks like a common emitter amplifier with a phase shift network around it to cause the thing to go into oscillation at approximately 700 hertz or so. And then there's a diode in that feedback path that essentially is used as a switch. So if you don't put the key down, the diode's reverse bias looks like an open circuit. The feedback loop is open and it doesn't work. And then when you push the key down, the diode gets forward biased, closes the feedback loop, and it oscillates. But it turned out that the diode was leaky. If you reverse bias the diode by 5 or 10 volts, it was fine. If you reverse bias the diode by about 60 volts, which is what happens when you unkey the rig, the diode would go leaky and go low impedance again and close the loop. And I figured it out because when I had the key hooked up, if I put my hand on the key, like shorting the key out with just my fingers, that couple 100,000 of ohms of resistance from my fingers across the contacts was enough to drag the voltage down so that the diode wouldn't leak anymore. So that's
there's your fix right there. Just when you operate, keep your fingers across the contacts.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So,
Put finger here.
right, exactly. So it turned out that was enough to drag the voltage down because the open circuit voltage was a very high impedance, so it didn't take much to drag it down. So anyway, replacing one diode fixed that, and everything was all back up and running.
Well, I love those rigs. That hybrid there had two 6146s in it. The 820s did. I think let's see, there's a 570. I think no, that may be all solid state.
520, and 530 had the same.
Yeah, the 520. Yeah. All had that, and of course, my first sideband rig that I built was the HW100. It was a Heath kit. It had a pair of 6146s. That was a very popular tube back then, and it was really neat. And I liked the Pi network. It matched really wide loads. It was just really cool to operate back then. Yeah. Nowadays, you just plug it in, turn it on, and operate. No, you don't. You don't dip the plate or peak the load anymore,
Yeah.
That reminds me, we talked about on a show a few weeks ago that new Mission 3 amplifier. I don't know if you were on or not then. It's a solid state. No. It's a 1200 watt solid state amplifier. And I was going to buy it. I was ready to go ahead and buy it. It basically it's a semi kit. Everything comes, the case, but he has all the modules. You have to wire in the connectors, and you have to wire mount the modules and connect them with cables. But he had a fairly good price, $2,500 for a 1200 watt amplifier. No tune again, and I was interested in that, and I contacted them, and they're not taking any orders right now. They're retooling, they said, and they didn't answer my question. So I sent them another note back, and I said, hey, when would they be available if I placed an order? And they said, well, we told you in the last email, which I didn't like that answer. And I went back, I looked at my last email, and they didn't tell me.
Okay.
So they finally told me that I could order in September, and I could probably get it in 5 to 6 months. So I had to give them half the money up front, and I've got two nice amps here. I've got an Alpha 86 here. It'll run 1,500 watts key down for 30 days, and it's just that you have to tune it though. You have to tune it. It's not solid state. So
I had a TL922 for a while. That was a great amplifier, but I sold it when I moved here because you can kind of tell from that video I'm in suburbia, and my neighbors are really close. And I know that I had problems sometimes in my own house with when I was running power in my previous house, and I had a lot more distance between my neighbors. And right now my antenna is closer to some of my neighbors' house than it is mine, so I figured I'll make do without the amp and sold it.
I do pretty good here. I haven't had any complaints. I don't even know if the neighbors even know I'm a ham. They don't see my antennas or anything. But at my other house before we moved here, I had a antenna when it was pretty low across the top of the house between two trees, and we have an alarm system which is both fire and burglar, and when I'd run that amplifier, it would set the fire detector off. And on a system like it, there's no way to disable the fire. You can disable the security part, but you don't disable the fire. So I actually had the fire department come out and pay a visit to me one time. Oh yeah.
You don't want that. Yeah, the worst that I'd get into the telephone, and I'd actually pop the GFI breaker in the bathroom.
Yeah. And I'm running this Alpha 86. I wired it for 120. It of course would probably work much better on 220, but I didn't want to run the 220 back here. I can easily get 1,300 watts out of it on 120 volts. So I'm not so worried about putting it back on 220. I'm just going to leave it like it is.
Yeah. Well, I over time when people have kind of moved over to solid state lighting and things like that, my noise floor is kicked up so high in this neighborhood that an amplifier won't do me any good. I'd be able to talk to people I wouldn't be able to hear. so I'm just as well working just 100 watts or less now. So.
Yeah. All right. Well, hey, thanks for showing us that. And I was looking at the chat room. There's some, I'll say, relatively new. Well, they may not be too new because these solid state rigs have been out quite a while. But they were talking about they were so glad that they had a new rig and they didn't have to go through all that. But hey, it wasn't a big deal, man. I mean, we could touch those knobs up in about 3 or 4 seconds if you knew.
Yeah.
Once you did it.
It became second nature, man.
Yeah. Once you did it.
The nice thing too was it's effectively a tuner. So as long as you had a reasonably decent impedance looking into the rig, you could tune into a 5-to-1 or more SWR and just again follow the same tuning process, and it does the impedance match. So you didn't really have to have the antenna tuner unless you were like 40-to-1 SWR or something like that. So you could tune into a non-resonant load pretty easily with that. So it really kind of eliminated that one piece. You didn't really need that.
Yeah, I don't think I even had an antenna tuner for a number of years. Really?
No, neither did I. I mean,
Yeah.
it was like, who needs a tuner? The rig tunes, it loads, it's happy, let's go.
Yeah, and we didn't even have an SWR meter back then.
Yeah, tune for max smoke.
Maximum, man, maximum. And, hey, dummy load is a 100-watt light bulb.
Well, yeah, that's people. Yeah, you tune. We have an RF current meter sometimes, just tune for maximum current in the feed line, and that was it.
Yeah.
Or
okay.
have a light bulb near it, just tuned for the brightest light.
Yeah. All right, well, very good, man. Hey, thanks for sharing it with us.
Oh, no problem.
I've got several other things here we'll pick up on in just a minute. We'll be back in just a minute or two, everybody. So just stand by with us and don't go away. June kicked off hurricane season, and another rough wildfire season may be on the horizon. When natural disaster strikes, cellular towers and power grids can quickly become overloaded and down. Emergency comms need to be instant, reliable, and allow interoperation with other organizations and agencies. Amateur radio provides reliable emergency communications with the added security of system redundancy. In addition to our lineup of amateur D-Star digital HF and analog radios, our IC SAT 100 portable satellite radio and the IP501HM LTE radios are an ideal solution for the additional coverage. ICOM's IC SAT 100 is the perfect handheld satellite radio for use outside of cellular or network range. By operating on Iridian's constellation of satellites, quickly and easily connect with other PTT devices, even from remote areas. The IP501H and the IP501M radios provide instant wide area coverage over LTE. By using an LTE network, you bypass the need for a pre-existing infrastructure, allowing nationwide coverage without the added cost of building and maintaining your own. Connect to all of these devices and more, even systems operating on different protocols, with the VE PG4 ROIP gateway. From land mobile and LTE radios to IP communications terminals and IP phone systems, they work together to form one seamless and uninterrupted network, ensuring your comms are received. Visit www.icomamerica.com/amateur for more information on ICOM radios.
LDG Electronics provides state-of-the-art antenna tuners for every amateur need. From QRP to QRO, fixed stations, portable and remote, an LDG tuner will match your radio to your antenna using our lightning-fast, proprietary tuning algorithms. LDG is a family-owned and operated company dedicated to bringing innovative, quality products to the amateur market. All LDG products carry a full 2-year warranty that is fully transferable. Support is only a phone call or email away. We're always here to help you. Visit us on the web at ldgelectronics.com.
All right, guys, we're back. And so just want to let everybody know we've got the East Tennessee Hamfest coming up in 2 weeks, September 25th in Sevierville. It's going to be at the fairgrounds. And somehow they picked me to come over and be the keynote speaker. Now, I think they give me a crown and I got a gold chair to sit in and all that kind of stuff. It's at the fairgrounds site. I don't know. But anyway, we're happy to be going over there, and we're looking forward to it. We're going to talk a little about a few different things. We're going to talk about ham radio and how, a lot of the fun I've had in ham radio over the last almost 60 years. And we'll talk about some of our balloon events that we did. And I really want to thank Bill Brown right now. Bill's in the chat room. He's not on the show tonight. Bill is with some folks there that are ill with COVID right now, I think. So he's taking care of them. But Bill has been a great influence to me in helping me learn a lot about the different balloons. And Bill is a real expert. He has flown probably 1,000, not only Pico balloons, but the high altitude balloons. I want to run a little short video. It's about 4 minutes long, 4 or 5 minutes long, that I pulled together. You may have missed you may have missed our high altitude. You know, we've been doing the pico balloons around the Earth, and we decided to try to go with a high altitude. Now, the thing about the high altitude balloon is it doesn't go for days. The lifespan of a high altitude balloon, in our cases, is maybe 3 to 5 hours. And it's planned that way because you want to go maximum altitude pretty quick, and you want to come down pretty quick, because if it's slow, the 130 mile an hour jet stream up there might take it 200 miles away from you. If you're trying to recover it, you don't want to drive 200 miles to recover it. So I pulled together some little excerpts of our last high altitude balloon, and our only one, and everything went perfect, except we made one wrong turn. We were within probably a fourth of a mile of recovering the balloon, and we made a wrong turn, and it hit the ground. I think it would have been perfect if we had just been under, and we could have ran out there and caught the balloon as it came down. It went over 20 miles high, and it traveled about 65 miles from Tennessee to Mississippi. And we were there in Mississippi waiting for it. In fact, we had time to stop at McDonald's while it was coming down, and we had a little breakfast there, and then we went back to try to get close to the recovery site, and we actually recovered it. And so I've got a little video here I'm going to show you real quick, and now it's kind of geared up for excitement, so I may have exaggerated on a couple of things. I don't know, but maybe not. Let's just see what it looks like here. Here we go. Let me see if I can bring it up. All I got to do is figure out how to work this stuff here. Okay, here we go. Oh, that's not what I want to do. Here we go.
Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff. 32 minutes.
So there you are, guys. That's what it looked like from our end. Well, I just took some little excerpts throughout the day. That was a period of about 3 hours, probably an hour and a half up and an hour and a half down, roughly, and it was exciting. I still think about it. I didn't have any expectations that we would exceed 100,000 feet. We did. And I didn't have any expectations that we would recover it. And didn't want to put a whole lot of money into the payload, but we had 3 cameras in there. Let's see, we had 3 cameras in there. We had APRS tracker in there. We had a Find Me Spot GPS satellite tracker in there. Battery packs in there. And let's see, I forget what else we had. Parachute, the works. And Mississippi has a lot of cypress swamps down there, and if it had gone down in one of the swamps, we would have never got to it. But everything went almost perfect with that flight, from the launch to the time it came down. We hadn't made that wrong turn. I think we probably could have been right under it when it came down. So that was really interesting. I'm afraid to try to do it again. That went so well.
Tough to beat.
What was that?
That would be tough to beat that.
Yeah,
that one was just too perfect.
That went so well, man. I don't know that we can do it again, and we'd probably lose everything on the next flight. But the reason we added the satellite tracking service in there was, APRS as that tracker got down, maybe 100 feet above ground or 200 feet, it might not be picked up by APRS. And we would not get any more tracks after it got down close to the ground. The thing about the Find Me Spot is it works on the ground. And let's say some kids beat us to it and picked the package up and took it home. The spot tracker would have helped us go to their house and recover the balloon there.
But my wife and I were out running a bunch of errands, and we happened to be grabbing a quick bite to eat, and I was able to, I think it was just about when you're ready to find it, I was able to pull it up, the live stream on my phone, so I had it propped up on the dashboard of the car.
Yeah. And
we're sitting eating our lunch, watching you find it. It was fun.
Yeah. It was fun. We didn't know what was going to happen, but it all came together just almost perfect, and that was probably one of the more exciting things we've done with balloons and ham radio in my 60 years with ham radio. And the Pico balloons are nice and they're fun, and you fly them around the world or go around 3 times, 4 times. There's guys that are flying some very small $4 balloons that have been around the world now 6 and 7 and 8 times. And that was fun, but it gets a little boring. And we kind of almost mastered that. We met our goal there. We got one up. We got it around the world. Made multiple trips around the world. And so this was very much different. This one is designed to go up and burst, and where the Pico balloons just float. So. Wow, it was interesting. So anyway, I'll talk a little about that at the East Tennessee Hamfest in a couple weeks here, and a lot of people have shown interest in it, and I want to again say thanks to Bill for all his help there. We're going to be launching a Pico balloon at the East Tennessee Hamfest if the weather's good. After I do my talk, we'll go out and we'll launch one, and we're going to launch one of Bill's trackers, one of Bill's Sky trackers, and who knows? It might stay up around the world and make it around the world. Our very first flight that we launched, Bill launched it for us, and it was just in one of the silver. Small party balloons. It made it all the way to Japan, and a storm hit it. So it's possible when we launch this thing from the Hamfest, it could make it around the world. We hope so. If it doesn't, we're planning on maybe some new higher altitude launches coming up soon. After that, we'll let this one come down first. This one I expect, and Bill Mike can tell us better. I think, Bill, we're going to use a 36-inch clear balloon. I think I got both here, but I think we're going to use a 36-inch clear balloon. And I'm trying. It's been so long since I flew one of those. I don't remember the altitude that we can fly them at. I'm guessing around 28,000. Maybe Bill can help me here because I would like to know that. Seems like it'll fly about 28,000. That's about the maximum altitude. But we're going to go back in on our next one after that, and we're going to try to do at least the 45,000. That's just about the limit that anybody can do. There's no material or balloon at a reasonable price, unless you're the U.S. government, that you can float higher than about 45,000 feet. And there's been a lot of people trying to build one. In fact, we're going to get back on that. You saw some of our previous endeavors to try to build a balloon, which we pressure test for the altitude and so forth. And it's tough. It's tough finding a material. So far, we haven't found a material yet, but we're gonna try to do it. Bill says 28,000, so my memory was about right there. All right, so, okay, well, if the weather's bad, we won't launch. We can't launch. We learned the hard way. You can't launch. These balloons have very little lift to them, just a few grams of lift, and you get any moisture on it, rain on it, it'll come down. If a bird poops on it, it'll come down, believe me. So, it's got to be a nice day, and but we're gonna have fun doing it. We're gonna be over in after we do the East Tennessee Hamfest on the 28th. We're gonna go on over to our home in North Carolina and probably stay about a week, and we'll do the show from over there. And if some of you guys had tuned in before the show started, you might have heard me talking about some new things we're working on here. And I'm looking at a new system to webcast with. We're presently using webcast. It's a really high-end, it's almost like a TV station type production thing. And I have multiple PCs networked here to bring people in on Skype and in broadcast and chat room and all this stuff. I have found a solution that it looks very promising, that I don't even need software to stream this show. I can do it with a browser, with just a browser, my camera, and a microphone. And I've been testing it. It looks very, very good. It'll let me bring in people into the show, just like right now. We've got Alan and Glenn here on Zoom. I'm bringing them on Zoom on a different PC. But this new thing I'm looking at, I can just send them a link and they can connect on it. They don't even have to have any software. They become parts of the video, and I can, just by clicking on them, bring them into the show and out. And it's all cloud-based. That means no processing power going on here in the PCs. And the nice thing about that is, and I wish I had done this at Huntsville, it's getting very tough to roll that 80-pound cart around people and everything. And with this new way to connect, let's say I had a couple volunteers that had smartphones. Looks like Glenn dropped. Let's say I had a couple people with some smartphones. All I have to do is send them the link. They click on that link and they're instantly on the show. And they can walk around with their smartphone and be roving news reporters, or get video, and I can bring them right into the show. They can either be on Wi-Fi, they could be on one of the 4G, 5G networks. It doesn't make any difference. and I could click on their picture on my browser, and I could bring them in and out of the show, and I could even talk to them, and I could say, "Hey, Alan, back up a minute. Let me look at that Collins gear again." It's actually be two-way contact with them, and they could actually put the camera on it, and you would see it. And I could make it full screen, or I could make it half screen, or whatever. So this thing looks really exciting. We're going to try this out from North Carolina the 28th. And I'll bring Katie Allen and Bill and Alan in on with the new system. And we're going to see how it works. It doesn't have all the bells and whistles that this has, but I think it has quite a few of the things that will make it work very well for us. All right. Hey, guys, you remember I was going to build up that little memory button deal for my 7610 for the audio memories. The 7610 has 8 audio memories in it. I built up the little device. It only took 4 resistors, and actually 4 resistors, 4 push buttons, and that's it. And hey, I finished it up today. I'll show it to you. And very simple, but works pretty cool. So let me see if I can bring it up here. It's about a 30-second video I tried to get on here tonight. Let's see. Okay, here we go. Oh, yeah, here we go. Hey guys, well, I finally had time, and I finished a little project around here. I told you I was going to build the little buttons for my ICOM 7610 that did the memory, and I finished that today, and I'll give you a little demo. It's real simple to do. If I can turn the camera around a little bit here. All right, so here's the box I showed you. I put me 8 buttons in there. I'm only going to use 4 buttons. I don't think I'll have more than a need for 4 memories. I've got the rig turned down to 0 power so I can demonstrate it. So let me turn it up a little, I've already programmed the channels, but watch this. This is great for contesting or whatever. Here we go.
This is Whiskey 5 Kilo Uniform Bravo W5 KUB calling the weekly Roundtable Net. Do we have any check-ins? Test 1 2 3 4 5 5 4 3 2 1. Test number 3, test 1 2 3, number 3, test 1 2. Test number 4, memory test 1 2 3 4 5.
Okay, very simple to build, and I think I'm going to like it, particularly for contests or anything like that. The book, the manual shows you how to build it. There it is. Let's see if I can get it focused. So that's for the ICOM 7610. I think there are other rigs that have the memory in there. I'm not sure how you interface to it, but there it is, and hope you enjoyed it.
I guess another way you could do that, Tom, if you wanted, is you could do a rotary switch to select what message you want, and then 1 button to play it.
Or you can do it the way I did it. The Yaesu FH2 is virtually the same design, the keypad for the Yaesu rigs. I use a programmable potentiometer chip. I use 2 chips to replace all those precision resistors and power it from an Arduino.
These weren't even precision resistors. I was a little worried that they may not be right, I mean, I measured them and tried to get as close as I could. The
ballpark
the 1500s were measuring, 1570 and stuff like that. And I thought, well, I might just pick me out of my junk box here, maybe 4 little miniature pots and put in there and just adjust them. But I didn't have any trouble using the fixed resistors, and it worked fine. I don't think I'll have a need for more than 4 voice recordings there.
Yeah. I use 2 for my contest stuff, and that's, pretty much all I can remember to use.
All right. Well, let's see. Let's see if do we have anybody new in the chat room tonight? I'd like to know if we've got anybody new that has joined us that hadn't been with us before. That'd be cool. And if you are, we're glad to have you here. Just remind everybody again, if you haven't done it yet, please hit the subscribe button. The subscribe button helps us out tremendously. I just wonder how everybody likes the chat room. We've gone back to the IRC chat room. I just wonder how everybody likes it. You know, I thought at one point when we went to the YouTube chat room, it was just easy for people because it was already there. You didn't have to log in, but you know, you can't please everybody, and we had some issues. We had some issues on the YouTube chat room. It just didn't function very well for us. It was almost impossible to change your name, use your call letters. Hambot was not designed to work with the YouTube chat room. Hambot is 100% compatible with any IRC chat room. So, you know, we used to be on Freenode. They went bonkers and went crazy. And now we're on Libera Chat. Libera Chat's fairly new, but I think they're going to be a good chat company. A lot of people are getting on there. So I hope that you like the IRC chat. Windows, for security reasons, we're restricted in some program. You know, used to, I had a link there where you could pop out the chat room and pop out the video. Right now, you could pop out the video if you want to and move it around. But the industry has changed things. They don't like pop out windows anymore. They pretty much stopped that. And even if you use the code to pop out a new window, it will not pop out a new window anymore. It reverts to it reverts to open new tab. And I've talked to a lot of WordPress experts and other people, and that's a security issue, and it's getting impossible to try to get around that. But if you've got two monitors, I can put a link on there where you could actually click on and move the chat room to a second monitor and keep the video on the other monitor. If you got two monitors, you can easily separate chat and video and make them full screen. But hopefully you're able to manipulate it however you want to and make it look okay. And what I found is I can't please everybody out there with it. So, I think. I'm happy going back to IRC. We have more control over it. It's easier for us to use.
Do you guys have a favorite IRC client to use on Windows?
You know, I use, and I'm not using it tonight. I haven't even installed it here yet, but HexChat is free. HexChat is really, really nice, and you know, it'll keep a log of everything. And this site, this Libera chat site, has links to help you set up things like HexChat and other things. It tells you pretty much how to do it. Also, Teresa, I don't know if Teresa's in here. She set up HexChat last week. I've got mine set up in the office, running in there in the office, but I pretty much am comfortable with the embedded the chat that I've got embedded here. Actually, it works pretty good.
It looks like HexChat's it's got a free trial.
Well, HexChat is free, it should be free.
Yeah, it says it's a free trial and then a $9.99 if you want to buy it. So I'm not sure what the difference is.
Yeah, we'll have to look into that. It may be one of those that they give it to you anyway, but they would like the money. There's another one out there. IRC is another pretty good one. There's a bunch of them out there. If you just do a search, Google search for IRC clients, you'll see a number of them out there. All right. Well, let's do this. Let's open up Zoom for our viewers out there. And I don't have the Zoom link. I can get it. Can you post the Zoom link, Alan, or
The current one that we're using?
Yeah, the current one.
Yeah, let me go grab it.
If you can do that, that'd keep me from having to open up my mail. Well, let's see.
Yeah. Let's go copy that and go to the chat. Pop that in there. Boom. There we go. Okay.
All right, folks. There's the link for the chat room here. If you'd like to, not the chat room, but the Zoom link. And if you'd like to join us, we'd love to have you on here. Let's see how many people we can get on here tonight. I'd love to have 100 people join us tonight.
So we got Michael in here.
Yeah. Hello, Michael.
I'm on the XChat website right now.
Yeah.
They're saying it's completely free for Windows and Unix.
Oh, maybe I was on the wrong site.
Yeah. Well, I don't know, man. Yeah, you'll like XChat. Yeah, go ahead. Let's see.
Hey, Tom, got a question for you.
Yeah.
The deal where you try to register your name and everything,
Yeah.
I've tried to do that at least 5 times now,
Yeah.
and it does not work at all.
What are you doing wrong? Because it's working for everybody else.
I did what I did was I went on your register now link, and I scrolled down to where the code was, where the code is that you typed, and I took that code and I copied and pasted it, but I changed the information to where it was my email address and my password, and when I typed that in there, it didn't return with anything. It just went to a blank screen.
All right, but what it's going to do, it's going to send you an email.
Didn't even do that.
Have you looked in your spam folder?
Let me do that real quick.
It will send you an email if you didn't, finger some wrong letters or something. It'll send you an email, and you'll copy the link that they send you, and you'll paste it back in the chat room, and you'll be completely registered.
Nope, didn't get it. Not in the spam folder either.
Okay, so you log into the chat room with the name that you want to use, and if you're not currently in the name you want, you do a /Nick, and then type your name, however you want to use it, your call letter underscore your name, and then you send, and then after you do that, you send that string that's a /message string that's on that information sheet. And you're right, you got to put in your email, and I think you put in you put in your email and you put in a password. I don't remember what you put on there.
Well, what
did it ask? What did it ask for? I forget.
It asks you for an email address and it asks you your password, and none of that works.
Okay, well, it works because others are doing it, and I'm doing it too. So something happened with you then.
Okay.
We'll have to just look at try to register you another one.
Okay.
Try to register you another one, and of course use a different name. I mean, use your name or your call first, then your name, or your name first, then your call. Just make it a little different.
Okay.
And copy that string, that /message register string. You put your password and your email in there, and send it. Now once you send
a different browser as well.
Once you send that, you should receive an email at that email address that says to complete your registration. Copy this link and paste it, and then you're good to go.
Try that.
It may be, I've noticed lately a lot of stuff's been going in my spam folder, and I've never really looked there that much. But lately I found a lot of stuff in here. Okay. I assume, Michael, you were using your name and call or something like that, right?
Yeah, I was using today I was trying to use just my call sign, and when I did the code that you were telling me about to try and register the thing, I did that and put my email address in, my Gmail address, I put that in there, put a password in there, and nothing really happened. It just went to a blank screen.
It will look blank to you. There is a. I'm trying to see how you get to it. There is a message that comes back to you. If you look on your left side of your chat room, do you see the chat room, the pound W5KUB?
Yeah,
Do you see Nick Serve? Do you see Nick Serve there anywhere?
No.
Okay.
It's this chat room is not very user friendly for the disabled.
Really?
I'm not at all impressed with it. It does not meet ADA compliance.
And why is that?
Well, for one thing, if you're a visually impaired user,
Mm-hmm.
take that for example. If you're a visually impaired user, how are you going to be able to read the large print without having a text-to-speech client or any of that? You know, take for example, if you've got a vision impairment and you're trying to read the information on the screen, you really can't read it because the text is a little tiny.
Well, do you know how to make the text larger?
I've actually looked at that, and you could actually mouse click and it will make it bigger.
Just as you can make anything larger on a browser, if you hold the control key down and hit the plus, that will make things. The more times you hit the plus, you can make those words so big you can have one word at a time on the screen.
Now I'm in the chat room right now,
and
I just put my call sign in as the guest as the ID right now, and that's where I'm at right now. So the thing that I'm curious about is, do you do that long string of code after you've done that, or how does that work?
Okay, the instructions say log in with the name that you want to use.
Yep.
If you don't have the name you want to use, you can change it by typing /Nick space and then whatever name you'd like to use. Yep. And then you have to copy that /message Nick serve register message and put your password and email in there.
Yeah,
hit
I tried
enter,
that.
Hit enter, and you should get an email back with a confirmation link that you paste in, and you're good to go. We'll look into it. I don't know if anybody else having issues with it. Try it with a different name. Check your spam. Those kind of things.
Do you have to put that command where it says Nick serve register? Do you have to put that in and not the email address, and then hit enter?
No, you put it all in at one time. /message Nick serve register, and you put in your password and your email address. All goes in the same string, and then you enter that.
Okay. Let me try that now.
Okay. All right. Well, who else we got in the room up here? We got Carlos. How you doing, Carlos? Charlie. How you doing, Charlie?
Fine. Hello. How are you? Hello, everybody.
Doing good, man. Doing good. Let me get this on here. There we go. All right. How are things down in Uruguay tonight?
Oh, it's rainy. Oh. It's not very cold, but it's rainy. But it's okay. We are getting out of winter.
Yeah.
And slowly, so no problems there.
Well, and we'll be going into winter real soon, and that's going to be good for us because winter is the best time to fly a Pico balloon. Because the storms go away. In the summertime, we have such big storms above the equator, but wintertime, the balloons seem to fly a lot longer because there are a whole lot less storms.
Yeah, I was wondering that I should contact if we are going to go with the club someday. We will someday launch a Pico balloon, and we will talk to these guys in Argentina that are doing Pico balloons for a long time now. So they, of course, will have the best time of the year to do the launches and everything. here from the south hemisphere.
All right. Let me stop you, Michael. Michael, are you there, Michael? Michael.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. I see your password.
Yeah, I'm trying it.
Here's what. Hey, Michael, you didn't put a slash in front of message, so you have to put a slash in front of that, and nobody will see it, and that will then go to the Nick serve. So
Okay.
if you did that, of course, right now you might want to use a different password because people
I'll use a different one.
people know that is going to be your password. So put a slash in front of it, use a different password, and that's how you do it. Okay.
Yeah, I'll try it while I'm on here, and I'll let you know what happens.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I just want Charlie, back to you. I just want to let Michael know that he didn't put a slash in it. So.
Okay, great. No, just that. But then I was listening to you when you said that pico balloons are getting boring. And yes, what we loved about balloon launches was the activity generated around the launch. You know that from the people that went fox hunting when to pick up the load, the payload, or then the people that went to the launch site to put Earth stations to do all the tracking, to the people that do all the software, and from contacting everybody waiting for a balloon launch to contact through. We had one with a repeater. So no, we have had a couple of them with a repeater, and it was really great because with the repeater you can contact people from Argentina and from south of Brazil. So that was really good. So we want to launch a pico balloon to have the experience, right? But it's much interesting for the ham community a normal balloon that will last for a couple of hours, but then it's a whole day of activity.
Yeah, and the pico balloon, if things work out right, the pico balloon is going to go where you're not going to recover it. Basically, you're gonna. It's gonna.
It must go
you want it.
Very
you want
well
it
so that you can recover.
You want it to stay up for a week or a month, or keep going. So it can go around the world a number of times. And we did recover one in Poland. And I had pictures on here. I don't have it with me.
Yeah.
The Polish team recovered one of our balloons that we sent. We thought they were going to gas it up and resend it, but we never hear back from them. I think the COVID is so bad over there that they're all locked up or something. But that was going to be the first balloon that flew from here to Poland, stopped for gas, and then took off again and came to the U.S. So that was going to be interesting there. Hey, somebody asked about the show again. They said, do we not go to YouTube anymore? Well, here's the deal. This show is on YouTube right now. And if you're watching it on W5KUB.com, you're watching it on YouTube. You're really not watching it on W5KUB. That's just a YouTube player that's on our site. So if you go to YouTube, you see the same thing. Well, it's the only thing. It's the show. But you don't see the chat room if you go to YouTube. If you go to YouTube, you can still you can watch it there and bring up W5KUB and bring up the chat room. Or you can just go to W5KUB and bring up both YouTube and the chat room right there. So that's kind of how it works right there. So yeah, you want the Pico. What was that? What was that?
Downloaded it, installed it, I loaded it up, but it has a list of networks, but I don't know what to pick.
Yeah. See, that's the secret. That's the secret, Alan. And Teresa's on here, I think. She can tell us how to do it. And I can go look at mine. But what you need to do real quick is just go to that screen where it says networks, and you need to add a network. Do you see where you add a network?
Okay.
Do you see that?
Yeah.
You type in Liber, Libera, Liber.chat. I'm going to get you started here, and then I'm going to mess you up.
Libera.chat, right?
You got that, and you click edit.
Okay.
You click the edit.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Now this is where you have to put. This is where you will put the chat room name in, like the W5KUB, so it'll open there. And also, you got to put the chat room in there and a port number. I think up in that big box, you put liber.chat/66. I don't remember the port, 6698 or something like that.
Well, 6667 was the one that was there.
Well, yeah, but that won't. They're using a different one. I think they're using 669 something. I tell you what to do. You see right below the chat room. You see right below the chat room. There, I got a link that says something about the IRC server or something. Do you see that?
Okay.
I don't know if you see it or not.
I don't.
One says register.
Someone
I
actually.
tell you what. Click on that link at the. Oh yeah. Well.
Yeah. Someone just put a thing there configuring SASL for hex chat. So I guess.
Yeah. 6697 for yeah. Hey, if you go on the embedded client that I've got there, at the very top you'll see. There's a little link that says register help or something like that. Register name.
Oh, there's an info. Oh, register a name.
If you click on that, that'll bring up the help. That'll bring up their help.
Okay.
And if you look at over on the left, there's a menu, and one of the links on that menu tells you how to set up your client.
Okay.
You'll get
Tom,
it.
I was able to register the name and everything, but when you register it and you're successfully registered, how do you get it to a password that you want to know and use? Because it brought up this weird link that you clicked on, and I clicked on that link and it said it was registered. So next time when I log into the chat room, do I use the password that I had registered?
Whatever you sent in that string, your name and whatever password you registered, you have to use that password.
Okay.
Now, there are ways to change your password if you ever want to change it.
Okay.
And we can get that information to you. All right. Okay, so the Pico, back to you, Charlie. Okay, so I'm still going to build, and I've got some material here. We're limited to about 45,000 feet just because of the pressure and the material. And but I've got some material here, and we want to go higher. I'm going to try to go bigger and higher, and but first, I think I'm going to go more power. Our little 10 milliwatts only doing like 9,000 miles. I think the next high flight we're going to fly for a Pico, I'm going to try to do at least 100 milliwatts again. We'll build a little amplifier and put it on there. I might even try to go 200 milliwatts. I wonder how 200 milliwatts will do. If that ought to do pretty good.
Hey, Tom, but what's the benefit of going higher?
Higher? Well,
Yeah.
well, the higher gets you above the storms. Because in the summer here particularly, and there are some websites that you can go to, such as windy.com and ventusky.com, and they're very helpful because you know your latitude and longitude, you know your position, and you know your altitude that the balloon's flying. So you can go to that site, Windy, and you can put in that altitude, and you can put your cursor on the location, and you can tell what the wind speed is and everything up there, and you can even click on cloud tops. And there were times that we were flying at 42,000 feet, and we were going over cloud tops that were 41,800 feet high. So it's a little bit higher you go, the more you're going to clear these storms. In case a big one gets in the way, you need to go over it. You can't go through it; it'll come down. And but if you go too high, there's no wind up there. If you go too high, let's say we go up to 60,000, or in fact, right now it's impossible. Let's say if you could fly at 60,000 or 55,000, the wind may only be moving 4 miles per hour, very slow. So, if you get back down in the 40s.
You have a geostationary balloon.
Yeah,
there you got your satellite.
Well, and I think that's the way this Google, Google, what's that big balloon, the Loom or whatever they call it, Loom or whatever, it's up so high that it's not moving much. But, it's carrying a 1,000-pound payload. And so they can have repeaters and Wi-Fi and all that stuff on it. And, I think that's what they're wanting to do is use it for communications. But, yeah, I'm going to build up, I think, 4 minutes of, let's see what Bill says.
Bill is saying that 200 milliwatts would be overkill. It's like running a kilowatt in a QRP contest.
Would mean somebody seriously larger solar panels. Well, I don't know. These glass panels we're using have a lot of current capability to them, and I think they can do it. They can do it, man. Now, if 10 milliwatts can be heard around the world, 100 milliwatts surely could. So we really don't need 200, but I want that thing to have a powerful signal, man. 45,000 feet, 1 watt at 45,000 feet. I want it to be able to where Charlie can hear it down in Uruguay direct.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, at lower solar angles, it's going to run less power, Bill. We're gonna run in high sunlight. We're going to run 5 volts on the MOSFET amplifier, but as we get lower and lower voltage, the lower light, the amplifier is going to put out less and less and less. So I don't know. That's our theory, and we're sticking to it.
Hey Tom, I wrote an article for our local radio club, North Alabama DX Club. I wrote an article on the Pi-Star hotspot that I got. And it will be published in this month's NADXC Long Path.
Okay.
If you go to nadxc.org, the article will be published in this month's edition. And I think the deadline is tomorrow for us, so it will be published by this weekend.
Okay, well, that's cool. We'll look for that. We'll look for it.
Okay, now I have to find a note on my desk. This is not going to happen. I just did an interview with ARRL. I'm going to be on their the Eclectic Chat podcast that they've got. And I want to say it's on the 23rd, and I can't find my note that confirms that date.
Well,
but, it'll be in the ARRL email announcements as well.
Well, that's good. Cool.
This desk is unmanageable.
Yeah, Mark is saying we'll need a bigger battery to handle the lower light situations. Mark, I think Mark knows this. Batteries don't operate up there as much as we have tried. Batteries will not. The LiPro batteries will not work at that altitude. They turn off. And we did a show, an experiment here on a show where we took the batteries down to minus 60 degrees Celsius, and the batteries just turn off. It's like they're open. At least it's good that they go open and not shorted. All right, if you're out there listening on International Shortwave, we are glad to have you. This is Amateur Radio Roundtable. It's a show about ham radio. Send us an email if you're listening to us. Send that email to Tom at w5kub.com. I'd love to hear from you.
I just got a text from the XYL downstairs that my dog is sitting by the back door with her legs crossed. So
you better go then. You better go.
Walk the dog. So
all right, man.
We'll
see you. Good to see you again. Glad you're back.
All right, we'll see you next week.
All right.
All right, take care.
Good night. Let's see if we covered what I needed to cover here tonight. We still have a few minutes left for the show here. Still looking for volunteers, man. If somebody would like to call a 40-meter net, 20-meter net on Tuesdays, we'd love to have you. It'd be cool if you had a big antenna and high power, so you can be heard. Would love to have you call the net, and we could report in each week on the results of how well the net's doing. Hadn't had a chance to play with my Geochron clock anymore since I put it up. Been really busy on that. I hadn't got my generator put in yet. My 22 kilowatt generator, my home generator. I got the slab poured, but everything is back ordered. Everything. A friend of mine told me this week. He said he wants to buy a new pickup truck. And he said the manufacturers of these trucks, they have lots where they have tens of thousands of vehicles sitting out there on the lots. But they're no good because they can't get chips. The chips aren't available. And if they don't get chips soon, they may destroy many of those trucks out there. So, and I see Glenn getting on the floor looking for that piece of paper. So, we've got.
I'm sure the cat stole it.
Cat may have ate it. Let's see. Is there a DMR net? Glad you asked. Our show has our own DMR talk group, 31693. 31693. I have a sneeze coming on, guys. I don't know if I can do this or not. All right. Sorry about that. Oh, gee. Okay, 31693 is our talk group for DMR. That's for Amateur Radio Roundtable. We've had that for about a year. Nobody's on that talk group. We need somebody that get some activity going on Amateur Radio Roundtable talk group. Use it for anything you want to. Let's get some stuff going. I'd love to have a net on here, If you want to call it DMR net, we would love to have you, but I don't know how you're going to find people to come over to it. Let's see. Oh, don't remember where I was before the sneeze. Oh yeah, we're talking about chips. Chips just, I don't know. They're on back order. Estimated delivery on a lot of these chips, even for our trackers, is like 6 months. My generator, we don't know when that thing's going to come in. I bought it through Lowe's, and it's the Generac 22 kilowatt, and I already paid them half the money. No, I paid them all the money up front. That was an expensive generator. So they've got all my money now. It's been 3 months, and it might be 3 more months, but I don't know. I want my generator. 31693 is our talk group. 31693 on Brandmeister, whatever that is. Yeah, program in there, and we'll talk.
amazing. This is the only piece of paper I can't find, but I'm pretty sure it's like the 23rd.
Are you pretty sure? There's a commercial. Have you seen that commercial? You probably don't watch much TV. There's a commercial. Are you pretty sure?
Yeah.
Hey, by now I hope people are getting prizes. That we've notified everybody of all the prizes that we gave out at Huntsville. If you got a prize from us, let us know in the chat room here. Give us your name and tell us if you got a prize here. We'd love to hear from you and what prize you received. And I'm about ready for a snack. I don't know what I'm going to get tonight. I've already had ice cream and cake. Been eating a lot of popcorn. What'd be a good snack tonight after the show?
I've been targeting popcorn for tonight.
Yeah.
You know, I can't have that sugar and crap in the ice cream, so.
Well.
I got to keep it semi-healthy. And
yeah.
It does look like it's going to be the 23rd.
All right. Well, good. And remember, the 25th is the East Tennessee Hamfest. We're hoping it's a big one. So come on over. That's near, hey, come on over and see Dolly Parton. We're right there at Sevierville and Pigeon Forge. There's probably more there to do than you would suspect there is. Come down for the weekend. Come out to the Hamfest on Saturday.
Hey Glenn, I got something for you. Look at my camera. That you know that radio by chance?
No, I don't.
That's a birthday cake.
Oh wow.
Oh man.
Isn't that one of them HW something?
Yeah, hold it up a little better. Let me look at it. Well, that would it be one of the HW, like a 16?
Looks like a Swan.
Maybe
Swan
so.
350.
I don't know. It looks familiar.
I don't know. I saw it on Martin Jew shelf. That's all I remember.
I'm gonna bet that's a Swan.
Yeah.
It could be a Swan 350 or 250 or something like that.
Yeah.
A wife went and actually made that for her husband. I thought that was interesting.
I remember, I think it was Alan that they made a cake. It was a fluke meter.
A fluke meter. All right.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
I think it was for Alan. Or no, maybe not for Alan.
I don't know.
Some crazy YouTuber I follow. Yeah, but for his birthday he received it was like a cake with a fluke, a fluke meter.
Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe it was Thailand. It was this Australian guy. I don't remember. Yeah, maybe. I forgot to ask Alan if he saw this Paul from Carson's lab that has this huge collection of Tektronix vintage instruments. Like he made a huge basement for all the tech scopes and everything. So that's really crazy. I forgot to ask Alan, but maybe next week, of course. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see.
Yeah, I wish I was going to that Sevierville Hamfest. I mean, it's time for me to go to more Hamfests, but it's a little bit too soon.
I wish I could go to any Hamfest. We don't have but it's not because of COVID or whatever. We don't have Hamfests here because we don't have enough. We are too few to have hamfests. You know.
So within 100 miles of you, how many hams do you think there are?
In total, in Uruguay, there are like 1,500 hams, which active maybe really active. You know, maybe half.
Yeah.
But but that's in all of the country. So to make a hamfest, I remember the club used to organize some where you took your radios and everything and to show, but nothing like a real hamfest where you meet.
Well, you know,
people,
some people in the U.S. are combining the ham radio and computers. So they have a computer show and ham radio kind of together, you know. You might start something up like that down there, and you might could get some activity, you know, more people to join. Join it, you know.
It could be interesting.
Yeah. Earl, WA4KBT, come on down to Sevierville. We'll see you at Sevierville. Earl was our helper at Huntsville, and we couldn't have done it without him. But things are going to be easier now. In fact, with this new thing I'm talking about, we could actually put on a basic live stream from Sevierville. We might do that. I don't know. We might try to do a live stream while we're down here.
I found my note.
Okay.
It is the 23rd.
All right.
It'll be announced on the ARRL website and in their email feeds and everything. But it's the Eclectic Tech podcast that Steve Ford, WB8IMY, puts together.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as they get it on the schedule, I'll let you know date, time, and URL and stuff like that.
All right. Well, I'm working on having a mystery guest on the show here in a couple weeks.
Do I have to wear the mask again?
No. I'll throw a picture up there.
Oh, you're gonna get Michio?
I'll just throw a picture up there.
We haven't seen Frank FMH there in a long time. You ought to see if he's available. He's a very interesting individual to talk to.
We haven't had Martin on in a while, too.
Well, I've talked to Martin. Martin's tired, and he goes to bed early. But, I mean, he would like to attend, I think. It's just that we're going to have to move the show to 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
You know, for
that
Martin.
That would work for me. We're past my bedtime now.
Yeah. Let's see. I thought about calling Martin today again and seeing if he wanted to join us, but
I bet the chip shortage is driving him nuts.
Yeah, they're having a problem at MFJ. They're having a problem getting parts. Really are.
What is the main cause of? Because I've heard different things, but what's the real main cause of the shortage?
The main cause, I don't know if it's the supply chain, you know, moving the parts. I don't know.
I think a lot of it was the COVID outbreak shut them down, and then they had a large plant in Japan burned to the ground.
Oh,
it's
really?
Going to be out for several months, up to a year or two, before that comes back online.
Because I heard water shortage. I've heard also that it's also it's not political. It's they took advantage of this to do mergers of different companies, and they are doing some mergers, and so that also is part of the shortage. I don't know.
Well, I don't know, but I hope they get it fixed soon, because there's my generator right there. That's my
I think this will be a good lesson for the future, so that everybody in the business understands that this is more than just doing business, that it's something that affects everybody, right? And everything.
Yeah.
Like nowadays, you have to take care of your cell phone, because if it breaks, it's not the same as if it's broke.
Well, you know, somebody asked me from overseas, when I first started building the little trackers, they're very, you know, you had this tracker right here, you had to build it basically under a microscope. It's so small, I was having difficulty at first. And they said, well, don't you have a cell phone shop somewhere you can go to and maybe they could help you? Well, I don't think we have cell phone repair shops in the United States. And maybe in other countries they do, where they get down to the component level, but here, you know, you just get another phone.
Yeah, I know a couple of repair shops, but yeah, you are getting. I've done repairs myself to my phones, like buying the parts and replacing them, and some of really small parts, but not dealing with the PCB components themselves.
Yeah.
You need special gear for that. Right?
Yep.
Yeah, about all they do is replace the screens for you these days. Everything else is throwaway.
Yeah, maybe
but
screens
more or
and
less,
batteries.
Because, there's a lot of people that remanufacture stuff and sell them like new, and I've bought stuff haven't been a factory. They call it different names, you know, but it's factory recertified or whatever you want to call it. But my brother works in his work. They deal with thousands or tens of thousands of laptops, because it's it's part of in the education where here in Uruguay you're given for all the public students in the public schools. You are given a free laptop for the whole school time.
Yeah,
and then you can keep it. So my kids I have lots of these. They are really now I don't have anyone for other laptops now, but they're all you know, have we're having more than one laptop per child here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So he works for the organization there, and they have a really important workshop where they fix the laptops, because they're so huge numbers that it's worth to fix them, and they fix them to the component level. So
Wow.
they have a workshop and everything.
Wow. Well,
But we're talking about tens of thousands of computers, right? So that's another thing.
Yeah, most of the schools here have gone to the Chromebooks, and again, they're almost impossible to get PCs and Chromebooks without some huge lead time. But I guess then I must have hit the lottery.
what do you
I
got?
have a question for you. Hey, Arduino guy, I have a question. I have this problem with the Arduinos that I buy an Arduino, what is it? The Nano. And then I buy another one, and the serial port chip, the USB port chip, it's always the Chinesium one, but they're different ones, you know.
Right.
So I'm having trouble with some Linux drivers for a Raspberry Pi that I have to interface with that's for my job, you know, and I have to keep, you know, trial and error with different Arduinos just to see which one I have no problem with the drivers.
Yeah, what you might want to do is go and look for a new driver, because originally they used the CH380, and now they've got the 381. And for the Windows side, it's a combination. You can get a 380/381 driver. So you might want to go out and look for an updated Linux driver for that.
Yeah, but you know that I've had some problems that I think I'm using the ones that work really well with no issues are the one that use the 380 driver, but I don't think. I think maybe it's some of them that are not really well implemented. That they're not really 381 compatible. They say it's an 381, but they don't really work well. So I'm having trouble with that.
Well, ever since I switched to that 380/381 driver for Windows, I haven't had any problems communicating.
I mean, I don't have problems to upload the sketches. Never. That's solved. I have all the drivers. I have everything. But then I'm interfacing I have a power management board that have a couple of Arduinos that each Arduino do some specific tasks, and some of them are time dependent. So I don't want to mix I2C with time dependent code. So I have two separate Arduinos and everything, and I interface that via a serial port to the Raspberry Pi. Okay,
so you're using the software serial stuff?
No, I don't know. I don't think so.
Are you using an I/O pin to send the serial, or are you using?
No. I'm using the USB. I'm interfacing via the USB.
Yeah, that's probably going to be the USB library then.
No, because where do I have the problem? I have the problem on the Raspberry Pi, Raspberry Pi side, because it's the Raspberry Pi that when I check the logs and everything, it's where it breaks down. It's on the Raspberry Pi.
I'm going to bet the Pi needs to have that 381 driver.
Yeah. Yes.
I would go look for a very late model 380, 381 driver, and it may address that issue.
Yes. It's a fairly new Ubuntu distribution, so we've had that problem there. We solved it by replacing the Arduino. Maybe the question was if you had renowned source or where to buy them to if you had that issue before, but I don't know. The thing is that we buy them and we never know what we get.
Yeah. Well, most of them are moving to the 381, and I'm going to bet you need to get a more recent driver that supports the 381.
Okay, I'll do some tests with the ones that I know that work and the ones that I don't. And maybe the problem is I'll try to see if the problem is with all the 380s and all the 381s. I'll have to do some more specific testing. More like.
Yeah, something else I'm seeing here as I Googled it, they're talking about the Raspberry Pi 2 has issues on the USB port with current draw.
Yeah, but this is not the issue because the Arduinos are powered through the board, and what I'm doing is I modify the cables so that I interrupt the power cable. So I'm only using ground and the data wires. So I'm sure that I don't have like power loops on the boards.
Yeah, because I'm seeing a lot. I just did a quick Google, and I'm seeing a lot of issues with the Pi and the USB serial and the Arduino. In this case, it's the 4B.
Yeah, we are using
It's basically talking about the USB ports on the Raspberry Pi.
We are using the Raspberry Pi 4. Yes, we are using the Raspberry Pi 4. Yes, the latest.
Yeah, this is pointing more to issues on the Pi side than the Arduino side. I'm not a Pi guy.
Yeah.
How about this? Try connecting the Pi to a powered USB hub, and that'll load the.
No, but as I was telling you, I'm not powering the Arduino via the.
No, but you're using the USB port to talk to the Pi.
Yeah.
And what I'm getting at is the Pi may not have the current to drive that. I would try a powered hub in between just to see.
No, but I'm powering the thing is that I have a cable between the.
I know.
With no power cable.
When you get into weird stuff, do weird stuff.
Yeah, maybe.
I would try a USB hub, and that would put a buffer between the Pi and the Arduino.
Oh, I see. Oh, sorry. I understand now. Sorry. Yes. Okay, yeah. I understand that for the USB part. Okay.
Yeah. And that because everything I'm seeing here is pointing to it's an issue on the Pi side, not on the Arduino side.
Yes.
Well, folks,
but what I'm telling you, I've changed Arduino and everything goes okay. So there are some Arduinos that are different from the others.
You could be right on a borderline condition.
Yeah.
All right, guys. I got to say good night to all of our viewers and listeners out there. We're glad to have you tonight. Tune in next week to Amateur Radio Roundtable. Thanks for being with us. All right, guys. It's time for a snack. Food.
Popcorn.
Popcorn, maybe. Popcorn, peanut butter sandwich, maybe a 2-liter Coke. I don't know.
I'm for a peanut butter sandwich there, Tom.
Yeah.
I like peanut butter sandwiches.
Yeah, well, if you drink a Diet Coke, see, that's 0 calories, so you can have all that other stuff. See, it all cancels out, that's what I understand. At least I read that on the internet. And
right.
Yeah, hey, if you saw it on the internet, it's true.
Yeah, I miss my white bread, though. My doctor told me to get off the white bread and get on the wheat bread or the brown bread, whatever,
I'm on a whole grain bread. Basically, I'm on a super low carb diet, and breads and starches and stuff like that are just totally
I'll tell you, you can't beat good old peanut butter on white bread, man. Someday I'm going to have one of those.
Nope, I've got to have it on like whole wheat, or I'm into this oat grain bread that I'm really enjoying.
All right, guys. Well, hey, I'm going to say goodnight to everybody, and we're going to close the show down. See you next week. Had a good time tonight.
Fine, great.
Yep, we'll see.